Let's start by rolling a die. Caleb, what happened last time?
Oh, last time, man, I can't remember when last time started. We were running around this mansion here quite a bit. There's this sassy wizard dude who may be evil and we kind of don't like. We were just like, we're gonna kind of ignore you. And eventually we came across a room with many things in it. Lots of frozen people and minions. Most of the people I don't know. But one of them is Zybilna, also known as Tasha, and another is the deceased Jabberwock, which was quite a woof. And so anyway, and there were also some cultists, and so we snuck in someone played by Sean. It's hard to tell them apart, and freed Tasha, aka Zybilna, and she immediately did like megalomaniacal villain stuff where she unfroze everybody else and turned those of you who were not already adults into adults and brought uh Haon over, and also the Hags showed up, and now we're all fighting each other. Not all each other, but like some of us are fighting other people I've mentioned. It's a
Yes,
battle.
yes, I agree. Yeah, and just to zoom out again, the all these after the War of the Vale, the very first one. The heroes of the Vale, they tried to rule and administer the kingdom. It was not going well, and what's worse is some of its older enemies were waiting. And one in particular, a vampire lord named Dane Earnhardt. He seeded the Vale with these weapons. And the king, after an assassination attempt, sent different groups on all these quests to stop these weapons. And they departed, except for the group that was going to head east to Forks and the Eastern Vale and find Dane Earnhardt and stop him. And also figure out this other weapon that they didn't understand that was causing earthquakes and fissures in the earth and magic forests to sprout up, and all the world was going crazy. And the kingdom came under siege by a demonic army, and so those heroes had to stay put until they could hold it back, which they did. And after they completed that by finding this magical device that was able to protect the kingdom and defeated these demonic overlords, they embarked on this quest through the magic forest, at risk of being lost forever in the sea of time, being mutated or transformed into something, or encountering otherworldly beings. The magic forest is a very dangerous place. Nonetheless, they went into it, and they have been on this journey ever since. They were turned into children, and they went on this adventure through the Feywild where they were children, to try to find this part of them that was taken, of their souls. And they've all found pieces of their souls, except for Felsane, who has just recovered the last piece of soul of the group that was hers, and who is now able to completely remember who she is and all of the mysteries and secrets she has thus attained, and has now come into her full power. And she has also found a familiar voice here, and a patron that has been guiding her from the very beginning, since she was a young girl, an And before she can talk to this person face to face, their enemies are also here, representatives of Dane Earnhardt and the Hags that stole parts of their souls. And they seem to have been doing experiments on this dragon-like creature. And yes, you are in the midst of battle right now. And that's where we'll start.
just to be clear, I'm actually okay. I was gonna say I'm on the page that has the book art on it, but you're moving me.
And it is currently. Theron has said that he's been watching and he's learned some of this magic, and I'm going to roll for how many turns he gets, and I do think I found something very interesting that Theron could do. So he gets 3 turns. And Theron starts to walk around the room, and he sees that that Zybilna is not frozen, and he goes up to her, and she says, "Theron, that is your name, right?" And he says, "Yeah, that's my name. I don't really appreciate you toying with my friends. We've been through a lot, and I would kind of like this to end. It seems to me like you ought to help us." And she says, "You presume a lot. You do not know how many times I've turned the hourglass, young elf. You don't know the wars I've fought, the enemies I've crushed, the things I've mastered across all of the universes. But we'll talk. As I was telling your friend, this is a battle I can't fight for you. There's something you need here, and then we can discuss things." And then she's formed in the air. She floats around the air. This rubble here has formed into a seat for her that she's reclining in. And she says, "I'll be very interested to see what you do, Theron. You've come a very long way. I'm interested." And then he walks around, starts to ignore her, and he looks at these people. He comes back, and I think he comes over to. Let me find her. Yeah. And he just pulls out his gun and he shoots her point blank. Let me see here. This gun is ridiculous. 86 times 20. So that would be I won't waste all of it. Okay. This gun charges up, creates this hum, this light. It grows, and I'm going to roll it because she is like completely defenseless and it's point blank. That may still not even kill her. This is true to Theron.
Was that just like 20d6?
That was 30d6. Wait, no, I'm sorry. You're right. I didn't roll enough. Okay, so it goes 16 plus 22 plus 17 plus 12
45,
plus
55, 57, 67, 87, 95 damage.
95. That still. Oh wait. Nope, that's still not enough to kill her. All right. And this gun goes off and it blasts her point blank, and you hear this screaming. And then all of a sudden, the time returns, and everybody's back. And that makes it. I have the next person is Din.
Oh dear, I said, muted. Boy, I'm back. All right. I am back, yes.
Yes, we can
Yeah,
hear
you
you.
get a turn.
All right. Okay. I've had 1 week to think about this, and I definitely remember how to play my character. All right. Yes. I am surrounded by people. I have scary-looking T-pose people and 2 hags. So I think I'm going to say sorry. I think it's about time that I make like a tree and leave. And so, as a bonus action, I would like to cast Guardian of Nature
Okay.
and turn into a tree man.
You turn into an ant.
No,
Just
just
a
me,
tree.
but like a tree.
All right, I'll give you
He's
a tree.
turning into a tree, comma, man.
Turning into a tree, man.
All right, you now have control of a tree.
Oh gosh, I'm very tree-ish. All right. Well, yeah. Anyway, I'm me, but I got like bark skin, and my hair is like turned into purple leaves. I got a very otherworldly tree appearance. And then I'd like to take my attack action.
All right.
You see what you've done is you've thrown Din into some side room.
Oh, my bad. Here, let me put him in the. There you go. He's gone. There's your tree.
Okay. An unfortunate downside to being a tree is I don't have eyes, so I can't see the map anymore.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, it's got a vision state. Here you go. That should fix it.
All right, look at me, a tree that I can move. Okay, and yep, and I'll take 3 shots. 2 at the hag ladies and 1 at a random T-pose person of the dungeon master's choice. And each time I shoot my bow, I teleport 10 feet, which I'll resolve in a moment. But because I am a great tree... Oh, hold on, I get 10 temp HP. There we go, look at that. I get advantage on my attacks.
Cool.
Because it's a real cool ability.
All right.
Okay, so first attack against the real ugly swampy hag lady, who I have favored foed, is a 29 to hit.
It hits.
All right. And that does 16 assorted magical damage.
All right. You turn into a tree, and then you keep firing your bow, and this magical arrow erupts out of your hand, and the hags are screaming as they're surrounded now by these heroic figures. This angel that's beaming light and wings spread out, and this mad cleric with a shield and hammer, and now a tree. It's like teleporting around, shooting them.
And then against the second hag, does a 26 hit?
It does.
Okay, that is 7 assorted damage.
All right.
And then against my remaining anonymous friend, does a 30 hit?
30. It does indeed hit.
Okay. Very fortunate. And that's 12 damage.
Describe how you kill that one as you're popping in, and I just imagine you like Nightcrawler from X-Men, except
Yeah.
you're also a tree, and also you're shooting a bow and arrow that's magical.
Yeah. I imagine that I just like teleport behind him and then just arrow in the back of the skull.
Oh, like that, and then you teleport again. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Nice.
and I would like to conclude my teleporting next to Zybilna,
All right.
and I would like to lean one arm against the wall and say, "So, have you been waiting for us a long time?"
It's
Or, no, I'm sorry. I hope you haven't been waiting a long time. Got it, second try. I get a mulligan on one-liners. This is a lot of pressure.
Yeah. She giggles and then does a very well practiced demure bashfulness, and she says, "Oh, Den, your sense of humor it's charming as always."
You're patronizing me, and I'm here for it. And I end my turn.
Faith.
All right. So are either of these hags alive still?
They were both alive.
I apparently cannot. Oh, I have the compass or the measuring tool on. That's why. Okay. Well, then I'm gonna try and finish off the half of a clockwork bitch
All right.
and just go for the big punchies with my sword. Do an 18 and a 20 hit, and I accidentally rolled it a third time. Ignore that one.
Oof, too bad that was a crit.
I know, right? Damn it.
They do both hit, though.
All right, so here comes the pain. I gotta do math now. I forgot. I get that like automatic smite for being a high level. Do. Improved smite is 1d8 per attack. Okay, cool. Then that's okay. I know what I'm gonna do here. Okay, so do.
I'm gonna put this over this
Yes,
line.
that is how math works. So I do 31 stabby damage. That's partly radiant.
All right. Total?
And then... Sorry?
That was total?
Yeah,
Okay.
31 mixed mash of... It's just some terrible rolls on it. Ba-da-ba-bum. And then I'm gonna summon my spiritual fist of slappies right behind her if she's not dead yet.
She's not dead yet.
Does a 16 hit?
I think all of a sudden... yes, wait, no. Maybe not. Let me look. It's slow. 16 does hit. And then, like... I mean, I think your thing is it's like the bat signal, but it's like the pimp hand of Helm appears, right? So, like, the cool thing is that this is open to the night sky, right? So if you raise your sword up, like, then all of a sudden, like, that hand just appears and comes down, and, like, now you've got this hand just, like, flying around pimp smacking people again.
Yeah, and it
Now-
punches her in the back of the skull for 7 damage.
All right, and I will give you control of it.
Woo! Right there.
Anything else?
Oh, I can do this. Oh, that's all I got. There, see, now it's punching. I like that.
All right, let's see. That makes
Who has
it
control of the orange penis?
right. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of that. It's a wild time.
But it's Camber's orange penis. He needs it.
And
No,
it's
that's
still there. I need it back.
Why? Oh, because it's
Oh,
Scotty.
Yeah.
It's Scotty. It's a
It is
fox. It's a fox.
It is kind of phallic, I'll give you that.
I don't know. Okay, let's see here. The monsters. Okay, so they're going to do stuff. The first thing that's going to happen with the monsters is this one right here. Is going to say. He's going to say, "Dearest sister, our experiments here are finished. Complete your duty." And then he's going to disappear into a mist. Let's see. Let me make sure he can do this.
Is him running away caused by a spell?
Is it caused by a spell? It is a spell-like ability.
Oh, I hate those!
Yes. So, I'm going to interpret it this way. Technically, and I don't give a crap. He's able to do this. This makes sense to me. So he turns into a mist, and it doesn't say if you can do an opportunity attack or not, but it's mist. Take any actions, manipulate objects, can fly, pass through things. It doesn't. He's not a bat, so I'm gonna say you can't attack it, and that's gonna be the crux of it. And what he does is this mist, it like sucks down into this like part of the floor and just disappears down into a crack in the floor, and he disappears. Unless somebody has something that can stop it somehow, but it is not a spell. No? Okay. Meanwhile, this lady here, who is not doing well, and Icarus black fluid is issuing forth from the wounds in her chest that this big laser bolt bore into her from Theron's gun. She's like, "Hammer, you traitor!" And then like she turns around to like try to fight. The rest of them are going to make morale checks. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 3 of them are going to fail and try to flee. This one's going to try to run. This one's going to try to run. Caber, you can get an opportunity attack.
The ground within 15 feet of me is difficult terrain.
They don't make it very far then. They make it like next to you. You can also make an opportunity attack, Den. And then...
I don't think I'm rocking a melee weapon. I've got a dagger if I can... No, wait, I won't do that.
And then this one tries to run, so... Hayon, you can make an opportunity attack. Theron's 13, I think 13 hits. 13 hits.
Oh, sweet.
And Hayon can make one, and... Den, you can make 2 of them.
7 magical piercing damage.
7, let's see, you kill one, and Hayon, that hits.
Yeah, let me, 1d8 plus 8. So
I need to
12
know
points
if they
damage.
kill one.
They do kill one.
Okay, as Felsane, I react to that and cast Soul Cage.
Okay. What does that do in one sentence?
Steals the soul of something that dies near me.
That's gross. Yeah, you do that. You took its soul. And you have it in a tiny little silver cage now. It's weird, man. It's weird.
Yeah, I didn't mean to roll
Definitely
those
not
dice.
It's
evil.
for, it's for magic stuff. Anyways, the rest of them... Wait, also, Din, you can make 2 opportunity attacks.
I shall preserve
you can't. That's
my
right,
reaction.
Okay, so these 2... That's as far as they can get, anyways. And then these bats are gonna... 3 swarms of bats. The whole place fills up with bats. And they're gonna fly in and try to attack Caber and Hayon. Swarms of bats.
Alright. I'd like to use one use of my Crown of Swords.
Okay.
Just sword. Which immediately gets to attack something that is attacking me.
Alright. Go for it.
Do I use my same attack modifier? Or do
Sure.
I use my spiritual? Okay. I didn't really know. It's not 14 to hit.
It hits.
That's sweet. I got 2 magical radiant damage.
Okay, that's not that much.
It's not much on my D8, but
What does it look like? Like these things like activate your crown of blades?
I think these bats are coming up and swarming around my head, and then Caber just like does a thing like he tips his hat, and then little spikes kind of stab out of it and poke one of the bats. It's hat protection. It's a hat security gear.
All right.
Just based on that roll, I don't think it was some dramatic
Right.
flourish of a blade. Level 19, I'm doing 2 damage on a turn. Sounds pretty good.
All right, and now the bats are gonna attack. Let's see. Let's start with Hayon here. Swarm +4 to hit. Does a 9 hit?
No. No, sir.
And wow, these bats start swarming around you all, but you just they're not like Caber. I think just starts dodging out of the way of these things, and Hayon, you just raise your shield.
Forming me my hat protection. They're like, ow, that was
that?
sharp, and then they stay away.
Oh right, yeah. Anyways, they're not able to hurt you. And then this vampire lady's gonna stand her ground, and one acolyte rolls a 16 plus 2 does an 18 hit Theron. The answer is yes, very much so. But he does a whopping 2 damage. Okay. Theron just goes, ow! You know it to be true. And then the vampire is going to try to start fighting back against Hayon. Because Hayon, like, leapt in the front, in the middle of all this. And you did a, compelled duel to one of them? I think it was the
Did a
dude.
goading attack to Amur.
Okay. Nonetheless, I think you have the kind of the aggro here for this vampire, so I'm going to try. She is going to try to grab you and bite you to turn you into a vampire. She has 1 chance to grapple you to do that.
Big money, no whammies.
It's a +9 to hit. 4 plus 9 is 13.
Not even close.
And then, in addition to that, she's going to use her regular attack, which does not turn anybody into vampires. And not even close there either. And then the hags are going to try to do stuff. The hags, they realize that they don't have anywhere else to run, literally. They've ran as far to the end of this realm, so they have got to try to fight. So they stand side by side, and they plead with Zybilna, please, sister, save us. And she just drinks her wine and just smiles. Let's see, they're going to try to attack Faith. And they're going to cast Withering Ray.
What's the save on that?
It's an attack. It's a
Yeah.
It's a 17 to hit. No?
Nope. 17 does not hit. I have 20.
All right, she can attempt a bite attack. 26 to hit.
That one hits. Well
Hits.
bet.
And then make a strength saving throw.
And then I get an additional +4 to whatever I roll because Aura of Protection.
No pressure, but if you don't
So
succeed,
that's a dirty 28.
Nice.
Did I make it?
You did make it. She tries to eat you. It does clamp down onto your arm, onto your armor. You take.
I feel like if I saved against it, she probably clamps down mostly on my shield.
Yeah, the bite part does 12 points of piercing damage. However, she is unable to swallow you. And then let's see. The next one is the clockwork lady here, Scabatha, and she's going to try to attack you. And she has magic. And she's going to attempt polymorph.
On me?
I think.
All right. Is that one a save? I feel like that one's a save.
Yeah, I'm looking here.
I think it's wisdom.
Yeah, wisdom saving throw 14.
This ain't good for her then, because I
She doesn't
start
know.
with a 14.
You know, she
So
doesn't know.
that's a natural 38. Like literally, my base wisdom is plus 14 to whatever I roll for saves. That's amazing.
As a bonus action, she turns into a tiny creature, and then she jumps into a hole in the floor and pops up again next to you, and she attempts to bite you for poison damage. Does a 21 hit?
Barely, yeah.
I think, are you immune to poison because you're a paladin, or resistant to it?
I'm immune to disease and frighten, and resistant to fire, necrotic, and radiant.
Okay, you are poisoned, which is horrible, unless there's something that says you can't be. And you take 4 points of damage.
No saving throw on the poison? That's weird.
Well, it hit. Yeah.
No.
Anyways, that is all of the monsters, and that makes it, Wait, no, there's one next to Strongheart here. And he misses. Alright. So that makes it, your ally's turn. Strongheart, well, first of all, they're gonna try to take this guy out. Let's see what he's got, actually. He's got a special magic blade. Actually, I'm going to roll it this way because it's cool. He uses his blade steel and attacks 18 hits, 12 points of damage, and he immediately disembowels this person. Then he uses his movement to come up and help in the battle against the Hags, since they still seem to be kind of hanging in there. And I think that he has a multi-attack. Multi-attack. He can attack with steel 3 times! As a one-handed weapon, 23 and 24, 18, 29 damage. He decapitates Skabatha. And you, actually, I think what you see is, as Faith is this, like, gross creature's trying to swallow you, and you're fending it off with your shield, all of a sudden its head just lops off, and it falls to the ground, and there's this person standing in front of you. And, Skabatha Nightshade is dead.
Good.
I'm sorry, Born a Bright
bitch.
Straw is what I was trying to say. The swampy one. Alright, and then Mercion, she leaps into battle to protect Caber, and she's like, Caber, no! And she starts fighting off all these bats. And she is going to use her multi-attack with her quarterstaff that comes out. She starts swinging it around, and she uses Divine Radiance plus a quarterstaff attack. And she destroys a bunch of these bats. And I think that's all your... Oh, yeah, that's all your allies, I think, yeah. But anyways, that makes it Hayon's turn.
Alright, I'm going to attack this vampire here. I feel like I really hate vampires. So 13.
13 does not hit.
Alright, go again. 16.
16, 16 hits.
Alright. That's D8 plus 8. 16 damage.
Describe how you kill this vampire.
After fending off the bats with the shield, I swing the rapier to try to decapitate her. He ducks under it, asks it on the backswing. I completely lop the head right off of her.
Nice. That's one way to end a vampire.
And then I wink at Theron.
He winks back, and then he blows the smoke off of his laser pistol.
Then I'm going to attack this. Is it an acolyte or a cultist or something there with my last attack?
Yeah.
Hit 15.
That hits.
King damage.
Describe how you kill that guy.
I just flick my wrist out and point of the rapier goes right in his throat.
Yeah, you
I
hear
don't even look at him.
choking, and then he just falls forward onto his face like a doll. And yeah, and now it's.
And
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I believe that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really have a bonus action. So
All right, Caber.
I'd like to take a step over here to look. This is like a faucet or like a fountain inlet.
It's a
Or like-
cauldron, actually, and I will show
And-
you what it looks like.
And the mist went down into it.
It went down into the floor nearby, like into a crack.
Okay. Well, then ignoring the cauldron, I would like to look into the crack and see if I can see down in there.
No, it's like literally like the crack that might be on your window. Like literally, only mist, particulate type stuff could get into it. It's not like it's not like something you can peer through. Yeah. But what's your intention actually? So I can
My
understand.
intention was to see where this mist went and
Ah,
follow. That's my intent.
can you turn into mist or something like that?
I can teleport, so if I could see where this mist led and I could teleport to that location.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's just like literally tiny crack. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that being said, I'm still going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to cast Far Step as my bonus action and teleport over here. So wait, are both the witches dead?
One witch is
Both-
not dead.
Okay, then that was my, that's what I want to do. I'm going to come over here, and with my action, I'm going to swing my rapier towards her.
All right.
13 to hit.
13. 13 does not hit.
Okay, then I'm just going to stand there, and then I'm going to call it to Tasha one more time. And say, hey, what exactly do you plan to get out of this little arrangement?
She says, actually, my dear Caber, I think that I have some gifts for you, but I wanted to wait until the entertainment was over.
Well, you could just speed this along. I'd really like to see what you got me. I'm sure it's great.
Fair enough. At least entertain me with my sister. And she like snaps, and like these people are just dead.
What, the bats? The bats got too?
Yeah, the bats are gone too.
I thank goodness.
Does that mean the bat noises stop?
Oh,
Yeah, no.
poor
It
Caleb.
also means my sword goes away.
Very good.
Yeah, and the only person left is this hag, and she like backs away from everyone, until she gets to the ledge over this storm. And she's like, "Please."
That'd be opportunity text from all of us.
No, don't worry about it. She's like,
oh, but come
she's
on,
like,
we got big
"Please."
spiders right here.
yeah. But do you have any other actions that you can take, Caber? And you can follow her if you want. If you want to be next to her, like I know.
Yeah, because I still have my movement.
Sure,
So yeah,
go
I'll
ahead.
do that. Okay. That's all I can do. Bonus action, teleport, and then attack.
Okay, right on. Phil saying.
Perfect. The only way this could have been better is if the last one alive was the frog bitch that ate me. So I'm just gonna storm up here, like looking over Caber, and like as she's like getting all baggy and like, please, please, I'm just gonna be like, would you just fucking, and then like my voice gets all weird and magical and creepy, die, and then I do this. Boom! Power word kill. Does she have fewer than 100 hit points?
She definitely does.
She's dead.
I think
That's it.
I
No
think you
save,
all,
no nothing.
right. You see in Felsane, I think you look like Galadriel from like Lord of the Rings when she starts looking at the ring. The power that you saw in Zybilna, you start to see now in Felsane. And you all witness as she simply utters the word death, like die, and her voice echoes in your all's ears, and causes the whole place to shudder. And then the hag simply is dead. Like literally, you can look in her eyes and there's only a body, and she simply falls over. Nothing falls off. She doesn't blow up. She doesn't. She literally is only literally dead with no life in her.
I would like to correct one part of what you said, though, because
Oh, yeah,
I don't
please.
feel like the word utter is appropriate. I feel like I'm saying this with the same rage with which I tore, what's his name, the merchant, a new asshole when I
Yeah.
cleaned his cave out.
Yeah. Yeah. We could say that was the frog one if you prefer. But anyways, yes,
Doesn't matter.
all the hags are dead. Clapperclaw was like, hey, we did it. And he comes out, and I'll turn you into not a tree. And I'll get rid of your tree here.
Unless you'd prefer to stay a tree for.
Can I react to my own attack?
Yeah.
Because I would also like to use Soul Cage again.
Okay.
I don't know why it keeps rolling when I click that to use it, so just ignore that. There's no roll to try and capture a soul.
Okay, so now you have her soul also in a little tiny cage, you monster. Okay.
Like it heals you whenever you commit a crime against existence. That's what the rolling is.
Cool. Padawan heals Clapperclaw, and Zybilna floats into the air above her cauldron. And something of note, Hayon, is all of your friends, except for, all of your friends, are glowing and have echoing voices. And Mercion runs to Caber and throws her arms around him and holds him and hugs him. And I don't want this. Give me a second here.
I think Caber accepts the embrace and gives her a kiss on the cheek. It's like, good job out there.
She's like, here it is. Thunder and lightning is what I want. She's like, I knew I would see you again someday.
I always hoped to see you too. I just thought it might be under different circumstances.
So much has happened. We started to lose hope. We came here with Hayon. After so many years, the war's been going so badly. We needed any help that we could get.
You mean the war with the demons, right?
Demons?
Oh, what war have you been fighting?
The vampires, the adventures of Perenval.
Haven't those been gone for a while?
No, they've taken over the Eastern Vale. Only my brother and I and Hayon, he's organized what's left, and we have a resistance. We've been trying to fight them, but it's not been going well.
How did it start?
Well, when you all left, and I was little, the monsters came. The golems, the giants. But we remembered Hayon's training, and our village, we built fortifications and we fought them off. And it seemed like things were okay for a while. Forks was was okay, even though we were isolated from the other villages, and we hadn't heard anything from Perenval. But, well, then horsemen started to come, and knights and nobles, and it was fine. They started to set up cities. They said they were from another land. And then they started to demand taxes and for people to serve, and then people started to disappear. And then we knew something was wrong. This was a few years after you left.
So, how long did you fight before Hagon showed up?
Years. And Michael, who is called Strongheart, is going over and he's talking to Catawan and Faith and Clapperclaw, and he's like, my name's Michael, and he's introducing himself to them and everything. And you see him talking, and she's like, Michael, he helped organize us. And we were surprised when Haon arrived a few years ago. But he wouldn't talk about what happened. And you know, of course, that this was not years ago for you. This was like a few weeks ago.
Yeah. I think Caber is like half listening, but also is like staring at Tasha / Zybilna as she's walking across the air towards them.
She's talking to Theron. Yeah, they're having like a private conversation. And then she floats over the top of her cauldron, and she says, in an echoing, booming voice as she's like floating up in the air, she's like, "Welcome to my palace. You are some of the most honored guests I've had in centuries."
Felsane's just like quietly fangirling and looking around like,
Yeah, no, she's like, especially you, Felsane. It's been so long that I've wanted to meet with you. We have much to discuss, but I think it might be best if we discussed it privately.
and just to be clear, this is the voice from the books several times.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I just like,
Yeah, she says, I am what's known in several worlds. They call me a fairy godmother. Some people come to me because they have requests, and I see if I can accommodate them. It's a certain pleasure that I've taken over the past several centuries or so, at least of your time. And if you'll permit me, she's saying this to everybody, I would like to do this, what I do well, for each of you one last time. I have followed your exploits closely, especially Felsane, and it's sort of affected me, as you can see. And she like turns back to her palace. There's rubble everywhere and dead bodies and everything, and she says, "A thinnings," and her voice booms out, and then this person like slides out of a doorway, like there's a double door and the crack in it, and he just goes like a sheet of paper. Let me see here. Thinnings.
that certainly explains the name. Oh, that's terrifying.
And he's like, "Yes, mistress." And she's like, "Thinnings, my other guests," and I moved them out of the way, out of character, because like they were very much in the way. But there are all these people like frozen in time, drinking and dancing, and like at a party, just frozen there, right? While you were fighting and spellfire was going off, and you were like clashing blades, there were like all these people in this party just frozen all around you. And she says, Thinnings, could you please take our guests outside to the reception area with the other guests? I think that matters here are rather pressing. And Thinnings is like, yes, mistress. And she's like, I think it's time, Thinnings. It's time for that plan that I had for a long time now. And Thinnings is like, but mistress, are you sure? And she's like, yes, I think the time has come now. And so Thinnings like slips into the room and he like starts taking people like and floating them away. Like and other people come in and they start like floating people off and taking them down to the entrance to where the bear and all the people at the reception were. And Zybilna floats over to this dragon thing that's been cut open and its insides have been like taken out. And you realize if you look at it that as alien as this thing is, you can tell that it's been here for a very long time. And she looks at it and she's like, this is quite much worse than I had thought. And she comes over to Hayon and she's like, and by the way, Hayon, you came here with Valor's Call, the resistance of Forks in the Eastern Vale, to try to have an audience with the Fairy Godmother to try to get her help. But you were frozen. And she's like, I'm sorry that we didn't have our meeting, Lord Hayon, but could I please see that blade that you've been using?
And I'll hand it over.
She takes the blade and she puts it into the cauldron and she dumps some of the vampire blood into it. The cauldron changes colors and she comes back. She hands you the blade. She says, thank you so much, Lord Hayon. She floats in the air and she says, and now, I hope that you'll understand, but this, what I do for others, some would say provide a wish. I need to do it in private. I think it might be best to start with Din. I hope that you all understand. Could we please have some privacy?
Where do you want us to go?
Thinnings, like, where are you? You're over here. Thinnings, like, slides out from this door now after he's like, and then he pops in and he's like, if you follow me, I'll take you to a place where we can have some refreshments.
And get a short rest.
Yeah, sure. And what do you all do?
I guess take a short rest.
Okay.
Wherever they take us.
I'm muted.
I'll put you in there. It's in here.
I'm not one to contest with her at this point.
Like, pre-short rest, though, Faith wants to see if anybody needs healing.
I need healing, but I mean, that short rest can do that. That's all I really get back on short rest, anyway.
Oh, well, I've got, like, 65 points of... Oh, I guess lay on hands is a long rest anyway, so it doesn't matter when I use it.
They start to bring out... things to eat and stuff. I don't know. Let me make sure everybody can see everything. I'm gonna make it so everybody can see. Okay, maybe I can't do that. I'll just make it so everybody can see the last person, which will be Felsane. All players. There you go. Now, Din, you should be able to see Felsane, and I'm gonna make it so everybody can see Din, so that that's not. Okay, yeah, everybody can see Din. Just act like I missed one. I think he would have peed himself. I think it's okay. And when you come in here into this room, there's this giant, like, ogre. And he's, like, chowing down on food and making an absolute mess. And he's just eating. And he ignores you all. And you all are in here in this this dining room, and you're being brought food and stuff. And do you all say anything to each other? Um, Mercion hugs her brother, Michael, and they probably sit next to Hayon, actually, and probably Theron over here. And the rest of you all can sit however and wherever you want. Clapper Claw stays as far away from that giant ogre thing as he can with Squirt the oil can. And I think we're going to have... Do you all say... Is there anything that you want to say to each other or anything before I get started with this other stuff?
So
one?
it's a giant ogre?
Yeah. Yeah, I can... I'll describe it. It says, paintings of fey creatures and mounted heads of majestic elk with golden horns decorate the walls of this dining hall. In the middle of the hall, a deformed giant squats, the head of a table piled with food. The grease-stained tablecloth is tucked under the giant's chin, and she washes down each slobbering mouthful of food with a gulp from a barrel of beer. A tea cart in one corner of the banquet hall has an iron kettle, and a tureen of steaming soup resting upon doolies. And, let's see here. I can show you what it looks like. There you go. But servants are coming in and they're bringing food and taking food out and stuff.
Aeon's going to go over to the tea service and formally pour 2 cups of tea for Catalan and Caber. Say, in 15 years I've come to give happened between us, but not forget.
Agreed.
I still don't understand. You guys could side with those traitors, but need to save Vale again.
Agreed.
Catalan looks over at Caber and nods at him and looks back and he's like, listen, brother. We all have to do what we think is right. We have to do our duty.
Well, which makes me think of this. We don't know what Dan's gonna use his wish on, but we have time now to discuss what we're gonna spend our wishes on. And at times, I think I know what I want, and at others, I find out that if I go off of what I want, I end up regretting it. So I'd like to hear from any of you, Falsane actually particularly, what are you gonna wish for?
And then Falsane, who was like probably giddy up until now, to the point that people who've been watching her for a long time are just like, what? Just kind of like thinks for a second and is like, I don't know. I mean, I had what I thought was a Tome of Wish, and I literally just traded that off for a Wand of Magic Missile. I kind of just go for what I want. I've never really thought about wishing for it.
And I'm going to pause.
I mean, I know what I want to
sorry,
do, but I know what I want to do, but I don't need to wish for it to get it or do it.
And what's that, sister? Falsane.
I'm gonna run a library. An actual public library. Where I'm gonna let people learn to read. And, of course, some knowledge is quite dangerous, so I will be controlling what people have access to in said library.
You hear Theron slam his dish down, and look down, and he just walks out of the room when she says that. And I'm going to pan the
Go
camera
figure
over.
that the guy who let me get eaten by a frog woman walks out.
Din, you have an audience with Zybilna, who's floating in the air near her cauldron, and she's like, she says, "Oh, Din, I want you to understand, before we discuss anything, that what we're about to talk about together, I have something that I want to show you. But perhaps it's become apparent to you by now that if you want to help your sister and your guild and set right the things that have been destroyed, it will come at a terrible cost."
What would that cost be? And I like to think that Din's kind of like sort of avoiding eye contact and is like looking over the Jabberwock body while they're having this conversation.
She floats next to you as you look at the Jabberwock, and she's like, "Ah, yes, your ancient foe. Now, across these decades that you have had it chased you, just to see it here splayed open in front of you."
It's pretty anticlimactic.
Yes. Well, I have some rather terrible news.
Oh, great, more of it. I'll lay it on me. Don't let my attitude brush you off. It's been a week.
Of course, I understand. This has been used by Dane Earnhardt. In fact, there are two particular types of magic it's clear that Dane has been using. I'm rather familiar with them myself. One is the school of anthropomancy. Are you familiar with it?
Anthromancy, that probably has something to do with animal magic. If
No.
my Latin is doing me any favors.
I'm not sure what Latin is, but that's not exactly the case. And it is a bit of a misnomer. But in essence, anthropomancy is generally forbidden across the many universes. It's one of the most corrupting forms of magic. It essentially takes something and turns it into something else. It's similar to alteration, but in a very unnatural way. And Din, it's clear to me that Dane has used this creature to and taken the essence of it that's lasted across thousands of years. The thing that hunts you is still out there.
Rats.
I think I should show you something. And let me find it. She asks for you to follow her to a room.
Is this head salvageable, or is it like properly rotten?
I mean, it's like, how do I put this? This thing kind of died like an insect, so you could take the head. It's just a gigantic head, so I don't know how you're gonna do that.
I was wondering what the scale was on it. Yeah, if it's overly gigantic. Hey, would you mind holding on to this body for me here? I'm a little light on carrying capacity at the moment, but I'd love to mount this someplace.
I don't think this will be going anywhere anytime soon. In fact, I actually have some uses of it myself, although I don't know that I'll ever get to that. Yes, it won't go anywhere.
All right, love to hear it.
If you'll follow me, I'd like to show you something.
All right, great. Let's see what's up.
Let me take you guys. Whoops, where'd you go?
I escaped.
You move to the top right.
Oh, someone's ping lied to me. I've been deceived.
I'm gonna see if it's on the same floor, just in case it's not. So I'm not gonna change it. Okay, so I'm just going to use theater of the mind here for this then. She takes you to the staircase, to the hallway. You go up a staircase, and she's like floating in the air the whole way. She floats up until
That's
you get
just insulting.
you get to at the top of the staircase an ornate iron door, and its surface is covered in a complex array of cogs and latches and tumblers, and a round doorknob engraved with the image of a nightingale. And she says to the doorknob, she goes, "Natasha," and then the doorknob goes, and then all these mechanisms go, and they start rotating and stuff, and then the door separates like in multiple different ways, and it's this like clockwork vault like door. And
You might want to consider a more robust password. Have you considered your birthday? Perhaps.
I can't say that I remember my birthday. It also depends on
makes it
what
a great
calendar that you go by, but that's a conversation for another time. That, well, to be honest, we may never have. And so she floats into this room as it opens, and when the door swings open, there's a circular chamber illuminated by drifting balls of colored light in the room. And in the middle of the room is a extremely overly ornate greatsword that's just floating point upward 3 feet above a treasure chest. And it's rotating slowly, point up. So opposite of this picture. And, oh, go ahead.
I was just admiring its fanciness.
I feel like there was something. There was something that I had wrong on here, but I'll look at it later. But anyways, yeah, it's extremely fancy. It's kind of a lot to even look at. And she goes in, she opens the chest, and inside of the chest is a helmet with golden heart antlers and a shimmering silver cloak, with a unicorn embroidered on the thread on the back of it. And I think she says, "You realize, Din, that when you looked into the mirror, you saw only what you wanted to see. And the terrible truth is that if you want to save your sister and what you came from and your friends, you'll never have that."
Gosh, Dungeon Master, remind me what the mirror was.
So you guys
Not
went
ringing
into like a
a bell.
funhouse mirror thing,
Yeah.
and I like to imagine it was like that scene from Harry Potter where
Right,
like if
right.
people looked into the mirror and they saw themselves in the past, the present, and the future, and everybody did that, and at some point we're like, what does Din see? And you're like, oh, I see myself as an adventurer, like from here on out, it's going to work great. And the truth is that when you look in the mirror,
Balls.
you saw all the pictures of all the across the thousands of years of the knights that faced the Jabberwock, and this one weapon that faced it.
Alrighty. That's rough.
Yeah, it is. It's terrible. Worst possible fate.
All right. Well, all right then. What do I need to do? You seem like you've got a handle on the situation.
Oh, I have no idea. I collect
Check, right.
items, but my cauldron allows me to see things, and I have seen you in this. I do have one gift left to give, and I have seen ahead. And I can say that whatever it is that you're going to face, and that is obscured from me, whatever Dane has done, he's become quite powerful. And he's used anthropomancy, and he's also used the magic of time. And I think that you'll need to be able to fly. And she leads you to the opposite side of the palace, and to an aviary where there is a gigantic bird. And she says, "This is my sisters. They used crude instruments, some flying contraption. It's ridiculous. Another one floats on a lily pad. It's disgusting. Oh, I won't have to worry about them again, thanks to you all. But this is my mount. It's Bloody Beak. He is one of the most fierce giant owls in the multiverse. I think that whenever you reach this place, whatever this Dane Yearnheart has planned, I think that you'll need to keep these creatures with you, or however, by whatever means that you could fly."
Right? Would this be? Would all of us require such an instrument, or
Oh, yes.
just the one?
And I don't know, we'll see, but I'm not sure. Felsen might be able to help you, but I won't be able to anymore, and well, I won't be needing you anymore, my dear. And she goes up and she strokes Bloody Beak's face, and Bloody Beak like nips, like, what do you call it when they like bite at you, like that, playfully, and she actually looks really sad looking up at Bloody Beak. Like this is the last time she's gonna see him. What do you do?
Right. Well, hello. Hello, Bloody Beak. It's a pleasure to meet you.
I would imagine it like hops over at you and the ground kind of shakes a little bit, and then it like kind of like looks around nervously or next to you, like trying to smell you and get a sense of you and stuff, and use its proprioceptors. And Zybilna says, "It's okay, Bloody Beak. It's okay. This will be your rider now. You'll have glorious and bloody victories. You'll get to tear people apart. It'll be wonderful."
Yes, those are some of my favorite activities. I do them all the time.
Of course, she's
Very much so.
She's looking pretty big. Okay, I'm gonna take you back. You now have Snickersnack. When you wield Snickersnack, let me make sure. Yeah, when you wield Snickersnack, I don't think it says this, but you can wield it as a one-handed weapon, so long as Snickersnack is happy with you.
Excellent. I was about to say, strength happens to be my dump stat, so that would have been a tragedy.
Also, I think you can use Charisma as your modifier.
My other dump stat. Excellent.
Snickersnack, Intelligence of 9 was 20. Snack creature. Yeah. Hey, you don't have to use it every round. But anyways, or at all. But yeah, she said, she comes back to the cauldron and she says, "Yes, I still think that this blade has a purpose."
Killing dragons, I think that's a lot of its modus operandi, especially killing the Jabberwock, although it seems a little murdered right now.
Yes, I don't understand that myself. And she comes over to the Jabberwock, she looks at it, and she's like, "Snickersnack doesn't seem to have any interest in this creature."
It's somewhat dead.
Hmm.
I think that's playing a pretty big role.
I hope you're right. I'm sorry, Din.
Oh, you have nothing to be sorry for, except letting the one vampire escape. That was something. But yeah. Sometimes life is what it is.
Yes. Yes. Could you do me a favor?
Probably.
I'd like to speak with Theron.
Yeah, sure. I can go send him in. Where did everyone else run off to here?
Thinnings appears and he leads you into
Oh
here.
God.
Yeah. And Din comes in with some really ridiculous arms and armament. I don't know. What do you say, Din?
Theron, it's your turn. Oh, food. How nice.
Theron has been skulking.
Dan, that looks new.
Yeah, I've received gifts. This is my quarry, Snicker Snack. These are my latest companions. There's Squirrel Man, Faith, Destroyer of Worlds, Catalwan, upstanding gentleman. Not very familiar with this other elf fellow. Theron was the other guy. You wouldn't like him very much. He doesn't do a lot of murdering. Yeah, that's
Oh,
the wizard.
Caber points at it again. He's like, "Oh, is that what you wished for then?"
Nope, I was just kind of along for the ride there. She just kind of took me from room to room and handed me things and told me that apparently, in spite of being dead, the Jabberwock is some degree of still in existence, which is unfortunate. In case you hadn't heard about it, it's really bad. And I need Snicker Snack to kill it, so hopefully we'll...
What's a Jabberwock?
It's the thing in the room, the dead thing, the big, like, kind of insecty, dragony thing.
Oh,
It kind of corrupts worlds that it exists in. It's pretty rough.
that sounds bad.
It also is, like, sworn to destroy me and capable of hunting me across the universe, so...
Oh.
It's not very good at it, though, don't worry.
What the heck did you do?
Surprisingly little.
I get that. Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, it was a lot of running, and I think it was the successfully running that started causing the problems.
The whole
Not that I regret that.
like
It
the
was
fact
the
that
right
you got
move.
away makes you even more of a temptation for it, kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm like the one that got away. It's sort of, it just can't help coming after all this.
Yeah.
Catalan, he's just burping. He burps when you say that. He just keeps eating his food. Also made a mistake, and Thinnings comes and gets Hayon instead.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, Thinnings.
Oh, regardless, it's a very pretty blade.
Oh, it's utterly gorgeous. Certainly, it's real got this like I kill fairy dragons kind of vibe to it.
You mean Chad? Don't kill Chad. He's all right. I mean, he means well.
You didn't tell me you couldn't see Kyle.
Oh no, I was.
You saw the other tokens through the other tokens because I did on. Yeah.
I was reading Snicker Snack. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just got to get a nat 20 one time, just one time.
Yep.
And also make it not mad at you. When you introduce Snicker Snack to everybody, it vibrates in your hand excitedly. Anyways, Hayon, you're summoned before Zybilna, and Zybilna, she looks at you and she says, floating next to her cauldron, she says, "At last, Lord Hayon, we can have our meeting."
Yes. One question before you begin. What did you do to my sword?
Oh, out of character. So after the Battle of Perenval, you dropped Inner Burtnall's sword.
Yeah, I knew that.
Oh, yes. So the blood. Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. She says, yes. Well, when you slew that vampire, the act of slaying it provided the magical component needed for my cauldron to track them to their location. And I'm afraid that I'm not going to probably be able to provide much of what everyone wants. In fact, I think maybe it's me asking for some things this time. But nevertheless, one thing that I can provide for you all is I will be able to open a portal now that will bring you directly to his fortress. Thanks to your excellence with the blade against that vampire.
That's what I was going to ask for a wish anyway.
Yes, I don't know that I'm exactly in the position of granting wishes this time. It's not exactly something that I enjoy. I don't like asking for things, Lord Hayon. It's not something I've done in a very long time. But anyways, about our long-awaited meeting. I do think I might be able to help you, and I think that it's something that you have wanted. However, as I told your other companion, it will come at a terrible cost. And I don't know that it's something that you may want to or choose to do in the end.
What do you have in mind?
Lord Hayon, you came from Evermeet, did you not?
Oh, I can barely remember.
Humility is not something your kind is very talented with, my lord.
Well, they feed each other's egos enough there. Then I haven't been there in so very long that I've been out of practice.
I see that you've come to appreciate the non-Telkasar.
These flames burn very bright, and I enjoy seeing the things they can accomplish.
And you have spent centuries now writing your book and finding information for it, right?
Yes, it's one of my passions. Still have a long way to go.
And you, before you left the Isle and your times in Faerun, before you came to the Vale, you studied the elf blades, the song blades of your people, and obviously you're a master of it. So why then this blade? And like you just have like a common, I mean it's a magical blade, but it's nothing like what you've seen before. And when you used Interbertnall's blade, it's the same thing. He had just a rugged longsword, you know.
Come in my travels to see that it's not the tools, but the master.
That brings us to what I can offer. I can bring you back. I can use time. If you want to end that journey now. If you want to take the see it here, if you want to take the crown blade of your people, the elf blade, the symbol of rulership of Cormanthar, of the Elven Empire. If you wish to use that against Dane Earnhardt, I know a way that I can provide that for you. But it will come at a terrible cost. First of all, you'll never be able to return to the Eastern Vale and help them. And second, every time that we manipulate time, in some way we break it. The effects of obtaining the crown blade now could have unforeseen consequences. Or you could use that blade. And she points to the one in your hand. And actually, I think what she does is she's like, I think she reaches in the cauldron and she pulls out Interbertnall's blade. And she's like, or you can use this blade.
have any thoughts about this thing were to happen? Would we have a better chance of defeating Dane?
Oh, that's for certain. The Crown Blade, as you know, is one of the most powerful swords in all of existence. It was wielded by the rulers of Cormenthar, the emperor of the empire of elves across millennia in Toril. But it will certainly go a long ways in helping to defeat Dane, but there could be unintended consequences, as I said. And she looks into her cauldron. She says, "Those are some things that are beyond what I can see. For my sight will not go much farther soon, I think."
I appreciate the offer. While I'm tempted, because I think defeating Dane is the most important thing we can do in the Vale. When I first became a master, Burtonall's blade was good enough for me then. It's good enough for me now.
She offers you the blade.
And I'll take it.
All right, you have Burtonall's blade back.
Thank her. Leave. I do want to read the description if it had a character.
Yeah, didn't it? It did have something on it. I can't remember though. Yeah.
I mean the elf blade.
Oh no, she doesn't have the elf blade. She said that she could basically she could break time so that she could make it possible for you to obtain it. So imagine, like you're writing this like magnum opus about the elf song and the elf blades and all this stuff, right? And blade work of an elf, and you're mastering this across centuries and all this stuff. And she's basically saying, I'll take you to the end of your journey now, and you can have the blade, but I don't know what effect that'll have. I don't know what's going to happen if I do that.
Oh, okay. It's all right. I'll just use the Google machine.
All right. Oh, yeah. If you're curious, it's the ruler's blade, or the crown blade is what it's called. And I mean, actually, hang on, you would know what it is and what it does, so there you go.
Huh.
Anyways, let's see. All right, she asked if you would bring Theron.
Okay.
All right, I'll move you back.
He doesn't say that. That was out of character. He would never say okay.
So be it, or something. And
as you wish.
Theron, you all spend some time. Theron is gone, and Hayon, you come back. What are you all still eating? Michael has been talking to Katawan and Kaber and bringing them up to speed. Basically, he tells you what Mercion tells you. He says that they started a resistance called Valor's Call, and they've been trying to fight off the Danes' lieutenants and underlings for some time. And he says that there's some sort of outsiders that came here from the south into the Eastern Vale, and they set up kind of petty kingdoms, like little feudal kingdoms. And that was actually fine, and they got along well for some time. But then something started to happen, and those feudal kingdoms started to... one of the main ones, the king was assassinated, and his son disappeared, and then his brother took charge, and there's all this controversy, and then people started to disappear. But the adventures of Perenval are held up as heroes in the East, and people think that they're amazing, but they know that it's a guise. It's something's wrong, and that there are these vampires that are controlling things behind the scenes. And so they came here to try to get help from this fairy godmother, basically. And let's see. Theron comes back, and he walks over to Felsane, and he says, "I'm prepared to do what I need to do for the Vale. I really wonder if you are."
And Felsane just ignores him. Because who the fuck is this upstart?
Yeah, he walks away and sits down.
Hey, I was saying, Theron is talking to you.
Caper's so awkward. Catalan burps.
Felsane actively mishears what Caber says and hands him. Wait for it. Hands him a skull emblem. Just says, "Here you go. I think this will look cool if you stick it on something like a hat or a."
You give
or
it to Theron?
Cloak as a class. No, Caber.
To Caper. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
I actively mishear
buds.
him and give him a skull emblem.
All right.
Caber takes it and just like tucks it away as the hoarder he is. But then he looks to Theron and he's like, we got one comes back with a sword, another comes back with a sword that I recognize, but you don't have a sword, Theron. What gives?"
Theron he's looking down, and he's not eating, and he looks ashen, it looks like he's really deeply troubled. And he says, "Caber, I don't think you understand. We're not here to get wishes."
Oh, okay. Well, what are we here for then?
I think we're here to make the sacrifices we need to make if we're willing to protect what we care about.
Well, what do you care about?
I care about the people of the Vale.
What are you sacrificing?
And he looks up at you and he says, "I'm going to miss you."
I mean, I'm not going anywhere.
And then Thinnings comes and gets Felsane. And Sign. And Zybilna. Zybilna is like floating over her cauldron as you come in, and she says, Felsane. Despite the heaviness of the moment, I am so glad to finally have this moment. I've been here for centuries, eons, but, it feels like it's been that long since we first talked.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like that long. And she's like struggling to contain her fangirling and oohing and awing.
I want to thank you. If it weren't for you, I would have been frozen by my sisters. Perhaps for an eternity. I've brought you here, Felsane, because I recognize talent. And, I actually want to ask some things of you.
Go on.
I contacted you, through the Avernian calculation. Despite my being frozen, I have my ways. And so it was through books that I identified what would be a suitable inheritor of my estate. My own mentor bestowed immense magic power on me. When I gained these powers, I initially took the route of my contemporaries of the day. Mordenkainen was a good friend of mine. I did not favor Blackstaff or Elminster. They were Well, they did not like my methods, you see. And then, of course, there was Finkel, and I learned about magic. In fact, I even pioneered entire forms of magic that hold my name to this day. Endless volumes of books carry my name. And it was from there, Felsane, I became enamored with the negative plane of energy. I saw in the abyss and the demon kind and a limitless potential. I still do, in a way. I mastered the demonic, you see. The others warned me, but I did show them that I could master that power. I was careful, slow. Frankly, I was more brilliant than them, but in fact, eventually took a husband who was a demon god. Well, when my half-demon son was born, it terrorized an entire world, of course. I began to see the limits of this type of power. Something was outside of my control now that I had a son, and I began to identify that most wielders of magic have a sort of boiling point, a kind of point of no return on knowledge and power. Eventually, those who use magic wish to conquer life itself. Have you seen this, Felsane?
And based on context, I assume she's referring to the whole they all want to be immortal thing, correct?
Yeah, and you saw it happen with Ilaria. She fell, she became a lich. You've seen it several times.
Yeah, it's vaguely familiar sounding.
Most of them wish to conquer life by becoming immune to the energies of life. They become something called a lich. This actually means that they inherently lose control, which is unfortunate. It's sort of a cliff that every magic user faces, a kind of filter for those who would be great. I also found another limit beyond that. If someone were to conquer life, eventually the mass of knowledge and power has a corruptive feature. Beyond lichdom, a lich will decay across all of existence, but, well, you saw it yourself. The infinite books, the infinite library that is the Avernian calculation corrupts those in time. And they lose their minds. Well, Felsane, I am proud, in fact, to say that I found a solution to this problem. And I think I found in you an inheritor. There is a perpendicular dimension to the material. Of course, that which we're in now, the Feywild. It's not negative, it's not positive. Transitive, some people call it. Neither gods nor demons. They call it fairies sometimes. The solution to this corruptive power, Felsane, is in that. It's in what's transitive, the Fey. I came here to find the ideal universe for a workshop of my own god-making. And I obtained it. Chronomancy. The magic to control time itself. Potentiality. If you come here to the Feywild, time works differently. And this is how I overcame the Lich algorithm.
I'm just kind of listening.
Okay. So, across my centuries, I endured, despite angels and gods and demons and devils pursuing me. But when I came here and I defeated time and my pursuers, especially my husband, my ex-husband, I was quite unprepared for something that would change me here. I didn't account for love. I thought that I was in love with Grotst, but it was not love. A sort of passion. I loved the children that came here. I they became lost and they would come here. And I realized my mother, twisted and mercurial as she was, Baba Yaga, she loved me in a way, in her own way, and I knew that part of me too loved those that became lost. And so my power grew and it fused with this land, forming the domain of Prismir, and along with my jealous sisters, they would eventually overthrow me. And I have watched you, Felsang, since you were a child, when you were harmed by your father and the people there, and I knew that you would come here eventually. I had hoped sooner, and I know that you see the same issue. I don't want you to waste another 400 years spiraling towards lichdom. Instead, I want to offer you something, but it's going to come at a price, I think.
What is the price of what you're offering?
I will tell you that. But before I do, I want you to know something else. If you become my inheritor and take my place, you will be of more help to your friends than if you go with them. And she takes you to a room in the back, and she shows you an old, wizened wizard, and he has been killed. And there are scorch marks of spellfire around the room. And it looks like Kellic took the Staff of Power from this person and left.
Kellic being the creepy old jerk that says I stiffed him on a book.
Yeah. And she says, when she comes back to the cauldron with you, and she says, Kellic is not the only power that will seek to interfere in what your friends are going to try to do right now. And there's something that you shouldn't tell your friends. They may fail. And if they do, you will be the last one. The last person from the Vale that could make a difference. You'll be able to intervene from here. And she motions toward the cauldron. She's like, you'll be able to see things that you couldn't see. And you'll be able to influence things in the multiverse. The price, Felsang, if you take my place, is that you will not be able to return to the Vale. Your friends don't know this yet, but they won't either. You've changed. This place has changed you the way that it changed me. If you return to the Vale, the people there will see you as gods, and they'll rip each other apart. The sacrifice is that you'll never be able to be directly involved in the Vale. You'll have to watch from a distance, helping as you can. But you'll need to do this if you care about your friends, about the Vale, because, well, you'll be of more help here with my powers, and you'll have the responsibility of overlooking the Stygian library and ensuring that the infinite libraries across the multiverse do not infect everyone. And you'll help the lost children that come here to Prismir and guide them to a place of safety and ensure my magic isn't broken. I overcame the Lich algorithm and the limits of the Stygian library, and I protect the multiverse from it. And I found at the end of all of that, and at the end of love, there was a final thing. I want to die.
Why?
Felsen, when you've lived as many centuries as I have, when you've already conquered life and death, when you have access to all of the knowledge in the multiverse and all power, and you've become a god, you see that, combined with love, a mature spirit, a mature mind, knows that death is part of the adventure.
Elsane just kind of like looks entirely confused, just because she knows that even if that were the case, there's always going to be new books. But she doesn't say that, she just looks entirely confused.
I told Theron that he should take your place. But he can never cast magic again.
Does it matter who takes the place if none of us can leave anymore? Or is it only that nobody else can leave if I take your place?
Oh no, you can take my place. Everyone else can leave. I was just... And I wouldn't tell your friends this, but they'll never be able to go back the way they were. This place has changed them. The one thing that I'm going to do for Theron, which is, I think, going to be needed for where you're going, is I'm going to take that away from him. But he'll never be able to cast magic again. And of course he won't have hands. That's bothersome, but... as the court mage of the Vale, he will never be able to touch magic again unless he shows his power to the world. Then there's that problem of being worshipped like a god and all that, as I said, but... from here, Felsen, from my cauldron, you'll be able to intervene at certain points. And most importantly, you'll be able to watch over your friends and prevent outside influence from intervening in ways that you might not like. Go with them and you won't be able to do that.
But what about Ethkatla? Can I intervene there too?
Oh, of course, you'll be the goddess, the Witch Queen of Prismere. Ethkatla is like an ant.
So my intervention is unrestricted as long as I do not leave this place.
Well, I didn't say that you couldn't leave, but you won't be able to become directly involved in the Vale. You'll have to help from here.
Oh, so I can, like, go back and get my other books that I left behind to come here, right?
Out of character, this place connects to the Stygian library, so you have
that's
every
not
book that could ever exist. It's like in Elder Scrolls, like what is that plane of Oblivion with the eye monsters?
Apocrypha.
Apocrypha, thank you.
Yes.
It's like Apocrypha, like this place connects to the Stygian library, which is like Apocrypha, where you have any book that could ever exist ever. But of course, you know, if you constantly tap into that, eventually the Vernian calculation will corrupt the entire universe.
It's more of a hoarder instinct.
You're not going to lose your stuff.
I want the things I left behind.
Yeah, you're not going to lose your stuff. Yes.
So basically, Felsane can go to and from. She just can't intervene in what happens there, except indirectly via the cauldron here.
Right. So you'll still have your dungeon. You'll still have the tower, but you're not going to be able to go walk around and and do all that kind of stuff.
This actually is bringing up questions that I need to ask you later,
Okay.
but I don't want to tie everybody up too long.
All right.
So, basically, Felsane's answer is going to be yes, but can you autograph the inside cover of my spellbook?
All right. She signs it.
Sweet.
She says, "You'll need to tell Theron to make his goodbyes. He's not going to be able to go where you're going. And then, of course, if you have any goodbyes you want to make, I think everyone should come back to the what is this called? The ballroom." And she summons all of you. I'll put you back in the ballroom. And she tells you, she says, "My new friends, before I depart, I want you to know that I can take you, I can bring you to Dane's fortress." Some of you have had private conversations with, and each of those have come involved in different ways. But if you're ready, and she looks over to Theron and Felsane, and she says, "Theron and Felsane will not be accompanying you." And Theron walks over next to her and looks downcast.
And Felsane's just gonna like walk over to Caber and just like look really awkward with her arms for a minute, like, and then just kind of like pick him up under the armpits and like
she's trying to hug.
Squeeze him in.
Aw, that's
and
the
then just
first
like
hug ever.
And then just like drop him.
She doesn't.
And
know
then
how to
just
hug.
like give him a two thumbs up, and just then walk away.
I think
But like looking really sad for Felsane.
Headlight just stands there confused, partially terrified, having never seen Felsane show affection to anything beside a book. And he holds up a finger while staring at the ground. Says, "Zybilna, I've seen a relationship a lot, and it's haunted me my entire existence as long as I can remember. There's a puppet and a puppet master, and honestly, I've cut strings between those. I did with Bacchus and with Moongrave, and I've tried to free puppets from their masters a lot. And relating to a puppet myself, I kind of would like to know, are you orchestrating some bigger play here?" And pulling forth like a bunch of Moongrave's playwrights. Says, I've tried to cut ties with every puppet master I've ever known, and I really just want to know now, because the strings are getting all tangled up and it's hard for me to keep things in check. Are you manipulating us here to get what you want?
She looks at you and she with a grave expression and she says, I don't think any of us are going to come out of this with what we want anymore, Caber. And all of you are glowing and your voices are echoing. And you find you found that Michael and Mercion almost kind of have like a worshipful kind of like, it's hard for them not to kind of like bow before you. It's very hard for them to keep your composure in your presence. And she says, I don't think any of us are going to get what we want. I was a puppet master for a long time, much like you said. And I know what it is to be a puppet and to be both on the strings and to control them. I think we want the same thing. I think I want to cut the strings. But I think I take your meaning, Lord Kaba. I don't know that you'll ever return from what you're about to do, but I know that you believe it's the right thing to do, to defend this Vale, to not see it destroyed, and to stop Dane Yernhardt. And in doing that, I think it may take everything from you. And that's one of the most honest things I've had the ability to say in a long time. Other than a portal, I do have a gift for you all. And she produces these. They're actually smaller objects. She hands it to all of you. She hands each of you one of them. And she says,
Cool.
yeah. She says, I'm not your puppet master this time, Caper. I do think the strings have been broken, except for one. I will be honest with you and say that, and she looks into her cauldron, Dane is the one pulling the strings. And if you go to his fortress, you fight him, defeat him and his weapon, I can see that you'll be playing into his hand. And I don't know what else you can do, because if you don't do that, the Vale will be destroyed.
Just need to kill him until he stays dead.
Well, our choices are: we go there, give him what he wants, or he wins.
I think
At least we'll get to kill him.
that if you don't go, the Vale will be destroyed. And Dane will live. If you do go, it's very unlikely, but it's possible maybe you could destroy Dane and stop him, stop his weapon, save the Vale, but you'll give him something he wants.
Which is what?
I don't know. And that troubles me. Something more powerful than me is blocking my sight. And she's looking into the cauldron while she says this.
What is it that pulls that last string for you?
Well, I think in the end, Caber, the thing that pulls the strings at the end of it all is ourselves.
Haber looks down at his own hands, and there's like a moment of realization that he has. A moment of like this inner conflict of wanting to be in control, but also not wanting responsibility, and this like struggle of I just want to help where I can, but I don't want to be held responsible for the actions that I make that are mistakes. And he has this moment of like, I have been in control the whole time. I chose every choice I made to get me here, and I have made those mistakes, so of course I'm responsible for them. And he has this moment of like, of course the one who's pulling the strings has been myself this whole time, and that's why I've been in this inner turmoil. And like he just stands there staring at his hands, and like maybe there's no expression, maybe there's like no visible way to see this like utteral change of his like whole perspective on existence. But he has this moment, and he looks again to Tasha. He says, I'm gonna kill Dang. because it's what I've always wanted to do since I was first betrayed by him, and I don't know if I'll end up regretting it. Probably I will. But I think that's how this play ends. So puppet or puppet master, I think that's what happens before the final curtain.
Theron gives you his gun.
Gabriel like almost drops it, I think. Oh,
Theron's
crap,
like, no, please don't drop it. Don't drop it. And like tries to help keep from dropping it.
Haon reaches across and says, I can get behind that, old friend.
Catawan's like, me too, brother. I think it's time to see this through to the end, one way or another. We'll do it together. As long as we stay together, stay true to who we are, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what Dane has planned. We'll be who we are, and that's what we're meant to be. That's what we should do.
Then reaches into his backpack, pulls out this nasty, desiccated old knoll tail, tucks it into the back of Catawan's belt.
Catawan's like,
Come on, just like old times.
all right.
Caber looks across towards Faith. It's like, I don't know you all that well, but you are with us all this way, right? Through the Feywild?
I mean, yeah, I was the white one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to come with us?
I mean, you guys are going to kill a vampire. That's kind of my jam now. So yeah.
All right. Caber looks past Theron, kind of lean to one side. Again? You in?
I'm always just, eternally point me at monsters and I'll hunt them down, planes of existence. It's just the little obstacles they put in our way, Yeah, sounds like there's some stabbing to do, so don't worry. I'm an old hat at this.
Yeah, well, I need you to be the Jabberwock against Dane, because he's the one that got away.
If you need someone to destroy a plane of existence for you, I know someone who can do that.
Well, we're more in the lines of preserving a single pseudo realm of existence. It's kind of I don't understand exactly what the Vale is, but we're not trying to destroy it. That's kind of like our whole thing. And then he kind of like gestures to like Catawan and Aeon.
Catawan comes up to Din. He's like, it's good to have you with us, brother.
Hey, it feels good to be welcomed. I don't always get that, but don't worry. I've got your backs. Yeah.
Michael and Mercion come up next to Haon, and they look at Zybilna, and they're like, "Can you take us back? My sister and I and Haon, can you take us back to the Eastern Vale to fight? And maybe help us?" And he looks over to Haon. He's like, "What did she say, Haon? Is there some help that we can have in the battle?"
Friends, I think the biggest help that can be had for the Eastern Vale is to rid this plane of Dane Earnhardt once and for all. You will need to go back to the Eastern Vale, rally your forces, hold, take care of Dane. Once he's gone, they're still there. I'll be back.
Michael comes up to Haon and reaches out for his hand and says, "We'll never forget what you taught us."
You're more than I ever could have hoped to have seen.
And Mercion She comes up to Caber. Well, first of all, Catalan is like, now hang on just a second, sister. Why are you saying that Theron and Felisane aren't going to go with us? I'm not quite clear on that point. And Zybilna is like, yes, I'm afraid that Theron and Felisane have a different path than you. They've both agreed to it, and it's going to be quite crucial in helping you in what you're about to face. And then Catalan turns to Felisane and is like, what's this about, Sister Felisane? We need your power now more than ever.
No wizards is pretty. That's pretty brutal.
And she's just gonna kind of be like, "Yep, that's why I'll be here."
He turns to Theron and he's like,
doesn't explain at all.
Theron, how can you possibly help us more except to use that fire against Dane himself? And Theron looks back and he's like, Catalan, I know that we've had conflict, and I know that we haven't always seen eye to eye on things. We've been through a lot, and I didn't have faith in you. And I see now that you're a good man. And he turns to Caber and he's like, Caber, you are too. You're a good person. And I agree with you. I think that you should see this through to the end. I'll miss you all. But if I don't do what I need to do here, I don't think you'll win.
Theron, to be honest, I've never really understood you. And I don't know exactly what it is that you're choosing here. But thank you for doing what you know is right.
Yeah, he starts to cry. And Mercion, she hugs you again, and then she takes your hand and she puts the rope back into your hand, and she's like, this rope, it kept me going for a long time. And to Tyr and to all the gods, I asked for their help. And in a way, I can see that I haven't. And we're going to go back to the Eastern Vale. We're going to set things right. But I think you should take this now. And I hope that its prayers are of help to you now.
I just got chills because there's so much symbolic weight in this now, because it's literally a piece of chopped thread tied in a knot. It's just like cutting strings and being puppets and stuff, and it all comes back full circle, tied in a knot, back in my hand. I was like, wow. Caber probably cries. Says, thank you. I'm gonna do everything I can, even if it's desperate. And he kind of holds up that tied knot, and he's gonna tie it to the hilt of his rapier.
All right. As Zybilna says, is everyone ready then? No, neither am I, to be honest. And then she clips her hands, and this blood comes up out of the cauldron, and it forms this portal next to her. And then she says, Felsane, and she hands you a black book.
Ooh.
Black book.
And she offers you a quill to write your name in it.
I politely hold up my hand and then just summon my quill.
Nice.
Scribe.
Yeah.
And then I sign it in rainbow. So the ink just changes colors as I'm... Yeah.
All of the decorations in the palace take on different things that you would have decorated your dungeon with in the tower, and like all of the and the crown goes from Tasha to you, and that wiry the crown she has. Or I have it right here. Well, anyways, the crown, there it is, Zybilna. This crown that she's wearing, and her bare feet touch the floor now, and she stops glowing, and then she starts like, and all of a sudden, Felsane, you start to float, and like you realize that you have immense power. Like you're essentially a god. You're now an archfey, and all of a sudden she starts cackling, like in an old voice, and like her features age and her nose elongates, and she's like, and then like this thing, it bursts through the palace, and she gets into this structure that has giant chicken feet, and it storms off with Tasha, and you never see Tasha again. And it bursts through the palace.
That last part gives me cause for concern.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I totally believe that coming from the DM.
It's like Atlas is what happened to you. Sorry to.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
All right, well, Portal's here. I hope you guys chose your last meal wisely, because this can be pretty disorienting experience. On delay.
Hopefully, it's like grapes that taste the same coming back up as they do going down.
You enter this portal, and time and space swirls around you like it has all the many times that you've entered a portal, as you buffet your way toward this an unknown place. You're not sure what will be on the other side of it. Let's see. Portal comes out in a place of darkness.
The triumphant music lasted like 2 seconds, and now we get.
Oh, wait, you probably should have taken a long rest. We'll say you're taking a long rest.
Yay! That's
Yeah?
good because I
Okay.
have 2 spells left going
Yeah,
into.
I think I'll allow it. I think,
Allow
I'm
long
glad.
rest.
I was worried. Okay.
yeah, I think we can do that. I feel a little
Felsane
bad
would
not
like to
going crazy with
immediately
my spells.
test. Sorry.
I was gonna say,
No, go ahead.
Felsane.
sorry. Okay, I'm done. I'm done talking.
Well, I mean, it's nothing pertinent to what you guys are about to do, but Felsane would like to immediately test her little new cauldron power by like making it rain 1,000 gold coins over Caber.
We'll come back to that.
Because I got too much gold and I literally have nothing to do with it now.
No, you can do stuff with it. We'll get back to that. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Oh,
You didn't
okay.
lose your stuff. You did not lose your stuff. Don't worry. Just because you're a god doesn't mean you lost your stuff. Okay. Okay. So, you step out of this portal, and there's this place of darkness. And you can see that you feel familiar with this place. All of you except Din. All of you have seen, you feel familiar with this place. There are moats of land floating in the air up above you, and there is in fact this fortress. But the fortress seems like, although there's this like magical energy and there's these parts that are floating and stuff, there's something. You get the sense, all of you are glowing, you have like this like vibrating voice, except Heion, who's still mortal. But you get the sense that the fortress itself is. You don't feel like there's life. But you see an entrance ahead down below it. There are all these magical energy fields over where the fortress is. And then an old figure in a cloak approaches you. And that's where we'll end tonight.
Did we get a picture of the person in the cloak?
No. But it's a rather large figure and slightly hunched and carrying equipment. And he has a massive axe that he's using to hold himself up on and he's walking with.
That doesn't matter.
You see a scaled hand holding the axe. And that's
Man, I'm just glad he ended the sentence with axe.
Oh, is it Kriv?